Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is Cruising with a Case Handler, a show brought to you by Pollock, Isaac, and DeSico. We're here today. We're going to be speaking a little bit about immigration, and a little bit about personal. Okay, a bit about personal injury, and of course, we want for you to just keep it locked right here. Um, Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard me on 93.5 WVIP FM, 9:30 a.m. each and every single weekday morning. We talk about personal injury, we talk about immigration. You get your immigration questions answered. Now more than ever, people are realizing that PPID, the law firm that is located at 225 Broadway, note on the third floor, is making a huge difference within our communities for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Alan E.K. I want to welcome Nelson Madrid, Conrad Pollock, the attorneys representing the firm tonight, right here on Cruising with a Case Handler, as we broadcast on Facebook Live, David Squeezaniki's page, also, of course, in PPID's page. It's going to be a mega year. Yeah, I'm not a prophet, but I mean, the stars are all aligned, and we're about to see that. So let's get down to business. We now know that President Biden, is now in full effect. We now know that he has executed executive orders. What does it all mean for you as listeners, as viewers out there? The premier law firm is PPID. The premier firm that you should go to is PPID. Do not go to anyone out there claiming that they can get you visas, get you green cards. You will, I will say it, screw yourselves. I have seen it happen in years past. Make sure you go to PPID. We have joked about it, we've played around, we've laughed about it, we've been serious about it. Do not do your case yourself. Go with reputable attorneys, not attorneys that's going to jerk you off. I said it. Okay, not attorneys that's not going to be honest with you. And when I say jerk you off, they all understand what I mean. The Caribbean people understand what I mean. Not literally, gentlemen. All right? You know, people, we have been screwed around so many times. Don't go for the games. Go with the real attorneys. And I am disclaiming it. I'm disclaiming I fully endorse PPID. I'm down with PPID. The question is, are you down with PPID? You will see it. These individuals, these attorneys, they are honest. They will not take your case unless they know they can help you. What better could you want? Let's go to the attorneys right now. Want to welcome Alan E.K., welcome Conrad Pollock, welcome Nelson Madrid. Okay, how you all doing this evening?
Good, thank you.
Good.
All right, great. So let's get down to business. Biden is in power. There are a lot of, I mean, not to get Conrad started, and please don't start Conrad. There's a lot of stuff. I've been doing what Conrad has been doing. You watch CNN, then you watch Fox. You watch Fox, then you watch CNN. And I see all the crap being thrown around. And I'm like, is this for real? You know, come on. Here's a guy coming in power and, you know, being very straightforward and saying what it is that he wants to do for America. And I do believe that what Biden has laid out on the table where immigration is concerned is very fair. It's very fair. Is bringing that equilibrium back, if, for lack of a better word, in our country, the United States of America, which was already a great country. Someone tried to muck it up. But here we are again. So who do we start with? Do we start with Alan E.K. with the updates? Do we start with Nelson Madrid with a better light than all of us?
Let me actually just kick off the show right quick. You know, because I before I got on this show, I was having a Zoom meeting with an individual who is in Jamaica. He was ordered deported 15 years ago, and he recently retained us to look over his case and find out what, if anything, can be done for him to return to the United States. You know, and I came to find out that there's a possibility this gentleman is a United States citizen.
Wow.
And his attorney, while he was in removal proceedings, it just never occurred to him to make the argument, to look into the argument, you know. So
it's their due diligence, as
did
you
not
say.
Did not. He told my client that basically my client only had one form of relief available to him based on that criminal conviction, and this is not true. He was convicted of a serious crime.
Mhm.
But if he's a citizen, the conviction doesn't matter.
Matter, right.
And, I have a case now where I have a client who is in jail, in custody, and I filed an N-600 because I believe my client derived citizenship through his father, because he was a minor at the time.
Mhm.
He was in the custody of his father, and his father became a citizen. ICE went to pick up my client or went to see my client, and my client showed them a receipt notice and said, "Oh, I have a lawyer. He filed an N-600 and believes I'm a citizen." ICE left him alone and kept it moving.
I
Okay.
like that.
This gentleman is in Jamaica, has been in Jamaica for 15 years, and he's stunned at the fact that his attorney never made this basic, because this is a basic argument, but as we said on today's show, cheap is not always good, it's not always the best, and obviously can be very, very expensive.
That's what I'm talking about. And I said it, I keep saying it, and I'm realizing that the Caribbean people, the Jamaican people, the Haitians, the Guyanese, the Trinidadians, the Grenadians, everybody, the DR, everybody is getting it. They're really understanding what we're getting at. As we do the show Cruising with a Case Handler, brought to you by PPID, they realize that we're not blowing no smoke up nothing. So people, please pay attention. PPID is here to help you. At least do yourself a favor. Get a consultation. All right. The consultation is inexpensive. Get the consultation and then hire them. Let's move to Alan EK, one of the attorneys at PPID, as we do the show. Alan, just bring us up to speed. I mean, we're going until 6:30, so bring us up to speed as to what you have got to say about Biden and his executive orders and what you think will come this year, if not beyond. And by the way, Nelson, thank you for that, because that's very, very important. I told you there have been many cases that I've heard those horror stories on. Alan.
Okay, so we know that change is coming. And how is the change going to come? Some of the change is going to come through executive orders by the president. And I'm going to talk about an important new executive order. But other changes are going to come through legislation, and legislation takes time. And so be careful with people who are promising you things. And let me just give you a couple of tips to watch out for from some of my colleagues around the country. And so some of these tips are: don't take any action now, except maybe come and see PPID. Don't pay any money to anyone who tells you that they can get work authorization or a green card or get you in line for any immigration benefits. Don't listen to notaries who don't understand the legal system. Follow reputable mainstream news sources like PPID. Don't purchase or use false documents. Watch the media for passage of a law granting relief to you. Keep records of your presence in the United States. That might include payroll records, bank records, medical records, school reports, and purchase receipts. Continue to pay taxes and use a reliable accountant or CPA. Do not purchase or use false documents. Never present yourself as a citizen, especially when you have to complete an I-9 by an employer, and also obey all the laws. So organize your documents. If there's an immigration reform, then you're going to have to prove you've been living in the United States before a certain date. So now is a good time to keep your documents in a safe place. Stay out of trouble until a new law comes and we know the requirements. The present law is still in place, and people can still be deported. Watch out for notarios, translators, bookkeepers, or others who just prepare immigration forms. They're not licensed immigration attorneys. Notarios do not know the law, do not care. If a notario does something wrong, you may end up deported with no way to get your money back. Now, something important has just come through, which is by way of an executive order. And at this point, the Department of Homeland Security has come out with a policy which basically is a 100-day pause on certain removals. So for 100 days, there's a deportation moratorium. This is immediate, And so they're going to, in the meantime, the only people they're going to go after are people who involve national security, border security, or public safety. So these are the top priorities under Trump. The priorities for anybody who was out of status, they could grab, and they did. So this new policy right now for 100 days doesn't apply. It will not issue notices of appearance to start new deportation proceedings. They will not stop, question, arrest, decide who to detain, release. So it's a 100-day moratorium, 100-day pause on deportation, which is really a good thing. And this is something that the president has put into effect right now. Now, let's talk about Daca briefly. Biden is going to order his cabinet to work to preserve Daca. Trump was trying to kill Daca, trying to end Daca, and Daca has helped hundreds of thousands of people come to the United States as young children from deportation since 2012 when it was introduced. Trump ordered an end to Daca in 2017. There was a legal challenge that kept it going. Now, Biden, in his presidential proclamation, is calling on Congress to adopt legislation which would give DACA recipients permanent legal status and a path to citizenship. There are currently about 700,000 people enrolled in DACA. So instead of trying to kill it, which Trump was trying to do, the president is ordering his cabinet to work to preserve it, to keep it, and help those DACA people become permanent residents. So that's some of the things that are going on. At the same time, there are some things that we've been talking about for quite a while. People have been waiting to go to the application support centers to get fingerprinted. And at this point, 280,000 people had their appointments canceled for biometrics. And at this point, 1.3 million people are waiting for biometrics appointments as of mid-December. Also, people who file applications with something called a lockbox, where some of the applications were sent in to be receipted in, and then you were supposed to get a receipt back about your application and petition. And there's a delay in the lockbox sending you your receipt notices. And those delays could be 4 to 6 weeks or longer. So we've got delays in getting your receipts from the lockbox. We've got delays in getting you to the application support centers. That's some of the news that's not so good. At the same time, President Trump has left in place 1.3 million cases backlogged in the immigration courts. And that's why at this point, if you have a removal proceeding and if you're not detained, you're not scheduled for a hearing, at this point, they're looking at February, but it's going to keep getting pushed back and back and back until you get your removal proceeding, which is going to be a long, long time. And one of the proposals that President Biden has proposed is to hire more immigration judges to get that backlog of removal cases going. So that's some of the things that are going on right now. A lot of other things continue to go on. I was on a phone call today with Senator Menendez of New Jersey, who is going to be introducing new immigration legislation.
Yeah, I wanted to hear about that before we get to questions, how that went.
It's called the United States Citizenship Act, and it's going to do some really, really nice things. And I'll talk about some of those nice things, but the problem is that it has to go through Congress, and meaning the Republicans have to go along with the Democrats. But there's some really nice things, like, for example, if your relative filed a petition for you and you're waiting back home in Jamaica, and it's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 years until your case is over, until you get here, in this bill, and again, it's just a bill. We don't know if it's going to pass, but there are a lot of really good things. But they would let you come here and wait here instead of you're reaching your turn and waiting in Jamaica till you get your card. Really a nice thing. There are a lot of nice things in this bill. There are alternatives to detention, so they won't be arresting and detaining a lot of people. They're going to hire more, as I said, more immigration judges. There's a basket full of really nice things in this new act. And Senator Menendez is going to be introducing this into the Senate very shortly. And he is the incoming chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So, and the Democrats are going to be in control of Congress with a 50-50 tie, and Kamala Harris has the deciding vote. So a lot of good things are in this immigration plan that's going to be introduced. So again, it has to pass, and it may not, but it may change. But there are a lot of really good things that people will help people if any of them, if some of them, if most of them get passed. They're going to be very good for people who have immigration cases pending. So that's some of the good things that are going on, and we will continue to report on what's going on. And as I say, Senator Menendez gave a 1-hour presentation, which I was on, gave a lot of good things. Hopefully some of them will be approved. It's going to be a lot.
Hey, Alan, excuse me. Did Senator Menendez mention when the bill is going to be presented to the Senate, or what kind of timeline they're on?
He didn't mention a timeline, but it would seem to me from listening to it that it's going to be right away. He's not going to waste any time introducing the bill. But as we get more information on that, but since he's, the chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee now, and since Schumer is the majority leader of the Senate, it would seem to me that it's going to be introduced fairly quickly. And what I can do is I'll try to get in touch with his office and try to get an idea about exactly when, but I think it's going to be really quick. I don't think they're going to wait.
Well, this is going to be a very, very politically fraught process. Just a little background for those of you out there that don't know how or aren't totally familiar with the way laws are passed in this country. Basically, long story short, in order for a bill to become law, it has to get through the Senate. In order for any kind of bill to get through the Senate these days, especially a hot button topic like immigration, it has to, typically you need a 60 vote majority, 60-40. That's in order to get past the filibuster. A simple majority, 51-49, is not going to cut it. So basically, we have 50 Democrats in the Senate, we have 50 Republicans. The Democrats are pushing this bill. They need 10 Republicans to go along with them. It's not going to be an easy lift. There's going to be a lot of horse trading here and a lot of back and forth before this bill becomes law. So the current projections about the cutoff date, if you were in the United States before January 1st of 2021, which is 3 weeks ago. So if you arrived for Christmas this year, you're eligible. Assuming you have no criminal record and so on. Things like that. It's probably not going to happen. It's going to probably be an earlier date. I just can't imagine them, the hardliners, going along with that. Also, previous attempts at comprehensive immigration reform included a path to citizenship. Usually it's 10, 12, 15 years. This one is 5 years green card, 3 years citizenship, and even less for Daca recipients and TPS recipients. I don't know if that's going to stay that way. My guess is it's going to take longer. There's going to be a lot of trading of these types of things back and forth. But the good news is, in my opinion, the Biden administration has come out swinging. They've come out aggressive. I've been practicing law. I've been an immigration lawyer now 36, 37 years. Actually, going next month, it'll be 37 years. And Alan's been practicing law for twice that. And we both agree on the topic that the Democrats have never come out so strong in favor of immigration reform like Joe Biden has this week. And the fact that the way the bill, as aggressive as it is, and they're asking for everything, and they're not really promising the Republicans anything in return, to me, that's very promising. I think there's a real good chance that we're going to see comprehensive immigration reform. And then one more point, and then we could give a number and so on, Squeeze. The Republicans are already asking the Democrats to promise them, to make a deal that they won't eliminate the filibuster. It's very interesting that the Republicans are coming to the Democrats before any of this stuff even begins, because they know if the Republicans, if they don't agree to anything and are stonewalling, as McConnell always does, if that happens, the Democrats might pull the trigger and they might eliminate the filibuster. And if that happens, it's a good chance this bill becomes law very quickly.
Why don't you explain what a filibuster is?
Yeah. Before you explain the filibuster, I just wanted to give out a number. Once again, folks, it's 23 minutes after the hour of 6. We're doing what's called Cruising with a Case Handler. It's a show brought to you by Paula Pollock, Isaac, and the Seco. Of course, the case handler happens to be Adam Handler, who happens to be absent. And Conrad, please don't comment on him, but he's our top personal injury attorney. All right. Anyone who gets into an accident, don't make the mistake and go to another attorney. Go with our personal injury attorney, Adam Handler. He has settled well over $130 million, ladies and gentlemen, for his clients. So make sure you call PPID and the case handler at 844-774-3529. I've been seeing the calls coming in more than ever, and I do appreciate the fact that you guys are making the right decisions. But call PPID once again, 844-PPID-LAW. That's 844-PPID-LAW. Call that number, and of course, hire one of the attorneys for your immigration cases or for your personal injury cases. And once again, there are different departments. Make sure you know that. 844-PPID-LAW. Also want to remind you about our newsletter. If you would like to be kept updated every single week or every other week at least, make sure you email news@ppid.com. So all the news that you need on point, you will get that every other week or so at news@ppid. You can send your email and they'll update you. And also, of course, the link that you see on Facebook, just fill that out and you'll definitely get the newsletter. Don't forget, February the 5th at 6 p.m., we have the first ever PPID Law Forum. It will be around the world. Make sure you register to join, register to participate, join the conversation with the attorneys and myself on February the 5th at 6 p.m. on Facebook, on Zoom, on Eventbrite. We're going to be all over. With that said,
how do people register?
All they've got to do, they can email news@ppid.com, or they can go to our Eventbrite link that will be up very shortly on all the social media platforms. But once again, if they're a part of our email database at PPID, we will be emailing every single person so that they can join. And don't forget, we got gifts. I understand that Adam Handler, the case handler, will be giving away iPads. So let's make way for that. But filibuster, what is it, Conrad?
You're really testing me here, huh?
Well, we can do it together.
Every senator, every year, there are 100 U.S. senators, 2 for every state, 50 states. But also that could be changing as well. The Democrats may try to get statehood for British Columbia, for the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., as well as Puerto Rico. And if that happens, then there'll be 2 more states, 4 more senators, and most likely that'll be 4 Democratic senators. That could happen too, but who knows? Anyway, every individual senator has the power, has the right to stand up and make arguments in favor or against a bill. And their time to do so is unlimited. They can't be shut off. As long as they hold the floor, they can basically go on forever. There's a famous movie with Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, I think it's called, Alan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? What are you laughing?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just looking at my phone.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. But basically, the senator can hold the floor forever, and the bill never passes, and he ties up the works, and the Senate can't continue their business, and so on. But these days, even the threat of a filibuster is enough to just shut everything down. So if any of the Republican senators threaten and say we're going to filibuster that bill, that will basically stop the bill from becoming law. And that's the danger. And that, if it happens, could lead to the Democrats pulling the trigger and getting rid of the filibuster. And then it will just majority rule. But of course, the Democrats will not be in control of the Senate forever, and it can come back to haunt them. So that has happened already with regard to the Supreme Court. So anything you want to add, Alan, to my explanation?
No, I think it was very good. And you had a question which I would try to get the answer to by the next time we're on, which is, what is the timeline? When does Senator Menendez expect to introduce his bill? And I'll try to get an answer on that so we can talk about that next week.
Yeah, that's important because, you know, as we've been cautioning all week about the laws changing, and we'll continue to do so, even if you don't come to PPID, which would be a major mistake. Everybody makes mistakes in their lives, but that would be a big one. All right, to not use our firm if you have an immigration matter, that would be a mistake. And those of you who've been watching and tuning in on a regular basis since we've been on the air since March, you see, we know what we're talking about. I mean, that is no joke. All right. But there are going to be people out there. There are already people out there, notaries and just unscrupulous people out there that have habitually and historically taken advantage of immigrants. And unfortunately, it's going to happen again. Every time there are changes in the law, or even rumors of changes in the law, or rumors about about changes in the immigration laws, all of a sudden these predators come out of the woodwork to prey on immigrants, take their money, and then disappear. Nelson, how many times have we been in the?
It's not only consultants and the guys and the gals on the
corner. Lawyers too. Lawyers too.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen that happen. So I'm very happy that PPID, Pollock, Isaac, and DeSico is coming forward and being very straightforward about it. I like the fact that Alan EK made it very, very clear. Go with organizations that are structured and stringent on exactly what's happening. And it makes me proud to be a Jamaican. It makes me proud to be an American also, to understand that we have an entity that's actually telling people exactly what needs to happen, rather than people out there taking advantage of the situation that's coming about or not coming about. It's very, 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 this is phenomenal as to what's going on.
Listen, I don't generally.
Let me finish my thought, Nelson. Whenever there are changes in the law like that are coming now, like I said, these predators, they come out of the woodwork, and all of a sudden, you know, he might have been doing real estate last week, but this week he's an immigration expert. And come in my door, give me $1,000 cash. I'll get you a green card in a month. Then you come back in a month. Where's my green card? Where's my lawyer? He moved. He left. He didn't leave his forwarding address. Nelson, how many times have you seen that?
No, of course.
How many times?
Of course. What I was going to say is, I mean, look, and I'm not one to ever toot our horn, but just with Alan, Conrad, and myself, there's close to 100 years of experience. Just 3 lawyers.
And Alan alone has 75 years of experience.
3 lawyers. 3 lawyers right now have almost 100 years of experience.
Absolutely. And, you know, in conclusion, well, before we conclude, by the way, let me give out the number. The number is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-PPID-LAW. That is the number for the law firm, not some shop, or not in the back of some place doing,
travel agency.
All right. Yeah. A travel agency or anything like that. This is a real law firm that's been around for 60 solid years in the Mecca, New York City, 225 Broadway. Quick question for the immigration attorneys here. How hard is naturalization? I've lived here since 1991, married, have a child, but still kept original country citizenship. And I'm currently LPR. I don't have a record other than some traffic and driving on a suspended when I was like 22 or so.
Driving on a suspended license is not that serious of an offense. You know, it becomes a problem when you fail to disclose it. That's when it becomes a problem.
That's the problem.
But that's not that serious of an offense. That shouldn't necessarily disqualify this person from obtaining any type of benefit.
Yeah, when Nelson says fail to disclose it, you've got to put that down on your naturalization application. And if you don't mention it, and then when you go to the interview and the interviewer starts to ask you questions about why didn't you mention that, then you can have a problem. So if you have any kind of skeletons in your closet, you're not really sure about things, come to see us before you file for naturalization. We will go to give you a consultation. If you want, we can file for you and avoid some of those problems.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying to my people. That's what I'm saying to every people. Listen, you don't know what's in your closet. You may think that you're super clean. You never, ever know. And that's the reason why I say hire the attorneys at PPID. Pollock, Isaac, and DeSico. Call them. at least get your consultation in. They will give you a discounted consultation, and then you can decide whether or not you want to hire them, but you should hire them. All right? I've heard the nightmares, seen the nightmares. Make the call. The number once again is 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. You're watching this, you're listening to this. Please share with every platform you know. These are powerful attorneys that's been around for a while. And of course, they're here to help each and every single one of us. Biden is in power. There's a lot that's coming down the pike. Make sure you, of course, email news@ppid.com. Make way for the forum that's coming up on February the 5th at 6 p.m., okay, via Zoom. We will invite you to join the conversation. So this way you can participate, ask your questions live for the first time on Zoom. Make sure you tune in for that. We're going to have some...
Squeeze, you want to mention with regard to that forum on February 5th, yes, immigration is going to be front and center. But our firm, we have a large firm. There's many, many lawyers here. We don't just do one thing, we do many things. And every lawyer at the firm specializes in something, just like the three of us specialize in immigration and do nothing. But we have lawyers doing immigration. We have lawyers doing real estate. We have lawyers doing litigation. We have lawyers doing family law, wills and estates, employment law, matrimonial. We have lawyers doing pretty much everything that people in their normal course of their lives will require in terms of legal services. And the vast majority, I believe most of our attorneys are going to be present at this forum. So people that have questions about whether they can be evicted, they can ask those questions. People are looking to make a will, they can ask questions. I mean, there are all kinds of things that people will be able to talk about at this forum. So I think it's worth noting, and people should hopefully sign up.
Yeah, the key thing right now is that everyone that's watching this, be a part of the forum on the 5th. Also, be a part of our show every day at 9:30 a.m. on 93.5 FM in New York by actually subscribing and finding out more. And you can do that by simply emailing news@ppid.com. It's that simple.
Please, the
forum. Our marketing team also, of course, Zaina, Ali, Tracy, everybody. This is going to be a mega super year in many capacities, as Conrad noted, Nelson noted, and Alan noted. We are here to serve the community. But in order for us to serve you, you must join our database. You want to get some free information? Make sure you email news@ppid.com. You want to get some free information? Make sure that you watch the forum on the 5th at 6 p.m. Listen to the attorneys. It's free information they're giving you. They're bringing you up to speed. This is a credible source of information. So make sure you make it Pollock, Isaac, and DeSico, aka ppid.com, or simply, if you have an issue with emailing and so forth, some of you like to just speak with someone, call 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. Let's do the right thing. Let's not screw up things. Alan, you wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to say that people will be able to register and come to the forum. They don't have to be in person. It's all going to be online.
Absolutely. Right? And we'll make way for everyone to be able to participate. All you got to do is note the date, save the date, February 5th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a lot of information, and we have some key guests from the firm and some key external guests. It's going to be a very powerful forum. But we need for you to share that with everyone that you know. Participate, join, check it out. It's a great show. It's been a long time coming. The Caribbean community, especially in the tri-state area, needed to have a firm that truly represents them. And that's what we're doing here. We have seen what the attorneys have done. The Adam Handler on personal injury and accident cases, $130 million. Can't be wrong. I mean, come on, this guy is very serious. He's absent today, God knows why, but he is truly the attorney that you need when you get into an accident. You've got the Nelson Madrid, the Conrad Pollocks, and the Alan E.K. We're here sometimes twice a day giving you information on so much when it comes to immigration. Gentlemen, any additional words you want to add before we grab dinner?
Remember, before you come to the United States by plane, you have to take a COVID test and show that you have passed and you don't have COVID before you can get here. So you take the test before you come here, or show that you've taken the test. You got to show the proof when you get on the plane and when you get to the airport.
Absolutely.
My last comment is, everybody who's listening, and I know we have a large immigrant community that does listen to us, and we appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. Biden's inauguration yesterday represents a sea change with regard to immigration. The previous administration, who will go unnamed from now on, we won't say that name anymore. What was that movie? Let that name be stricken from the records and nobody ever speak that name again. That movie. There's a famous movie from the 50s. I'm a movie film.
Ex-president.
What? Right.
Ex-president.
Anyway, the former administration, they viewed immigration as detrimental to the United States, that immigrants contributed nothing. All they did was take, and they gave nothing, and they were just a burden and not something that we should relish or want. And there were too many of them here. What did he say once? That we're full. The country is full. Remember that? A few years ago, he actually said that the country is full. Whereas now, we have a decent, reasonable, intelligent, honest president in power, and the welcome mat has been put back out in front of the United States entryway, because the Biden administration, they recognize the contributions and all the positive things that immigrants bring to this country. Forget, yes, we're a country of immigrants, melting pot, all of that stuff. I mean, it's all true. All right. Statue of Liberty, give us your poor, all of that stuff. That's all great. All right. But the fact is, when you want to look at the facts on the ground, most, if not all, studies show that immigrants are a net positive to the United States. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today who's in the anti-crowd, and he's a hardcore Republican and so on. And he was railing about H-1Bs, and H-1Bs are professional visas for workers that come in, mostly tech workers. They go to Silicon Valley. They're all coming from India and China, and they're taking jobs away from Americans. And I said to him, how many guys do you know that are doing these tech jobs that, even if they were hired, could they do the jobs that these guys from India and wherever else they're coming that are doing? And then also, not to mention the people that have created the inventors of the current vaccines, the COVID vaccines, from Moderna, from Pfizer. These are all immigrants.
Right. Yeah.
The guy who invented Tesla and what's his name, Musk. All these guys, they're all immigrants. And I said, if nothing else, you have to recognize that the United States is in a game with the rest of the world, a game of competition. Who gets the best and the brightest? And if you want to think that, if you want to think that the United States is the only country in the world that we have the best people and we have the smartest people and our people can do anything and everything, and we don't need anyone else from outside of the United States, if that's your way of thinking, okay, you're wrong, but fine. You want to think that way? That's great. The fact is, though, we are in a game of competition with the rest of the world to get the best and the brightest, and we've always been able to do that. That's why our schools are full of foreign students that come here to get their educations and to get their degrees, until this previous administration this previous president, who will go unnamed at the moment. He stopped it. He tried to change it because he saw them all as being negative, and they brought nothing to the table. That couldn't be farther from the truth. The current administration recognizes that, and as a result, there is a total sea change. You will see it. It's just starting. But immigration will once again be viewed in a positive light. Immigrants are being welcomed, and their contributions will be welcomed. And it's a good thing. Immigrants in the United States should be really happy right now.
Well, our first female vice president is the product of immigrants.
That's right.
Absolutely. That is true. That is definitely absolutely true. South Asia and Jamaica. So we got to say welcome to Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States. And it shows that what you all have been saying throughout this session here is absolutely 100% true. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being what it is that you are here with, of course, the show Cruising with the Case Handler, show brought to you by a mega law firm, Pollock, Isaac, and DeSico. Everyone watching this, dial the number, store the number, use the number, 844-774-3529. Whenever you need an attorney, don't think twice. Just dial the number and speak to someone there. 844-PPID-LAW. Join us tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're here with another edition of a show on personal injury and immigration brought to you by PPID, Cruising with a Case Handler. Nelson, Conrad, Alan, any final words?
The ladies
That's
are on
it?
tomorrow. No men, just females tomorrow. They're taking over.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have a blast, you know. Thank you all so much
All
for
yours.
ladies doing
All
the show.
yours.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Looking forward to speaking with you again very soon. Great show. And I'm very happy where we are today with Biden. Let's just keep our fingers crossed and just hope for the best. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you continue to share.